Imagine a future where every flat rooftop in your city isn't just wasted space, but a clean power generator. Skyscrapers, warehouses, even your local grocery store, all quietly churning out electricity from the morning sun. Sounds like science fiction? It's happening now, and it could flip the global energy economy on its head. But there's a twist. This revolution isn't about the classic heavy blue-black rectangles you've seen on suburban houses. It's happening with the new generation of lightweight solar panels, ultra-thin, flexible, and ready to conquer places traditional solar simply can't go. And as of this year, one ambitious startup in France has made a breakthrough that's turning heads across Europe and beyond. So, why are investors pouring millions into this technology? What threats and opportunities does it create for energy markets and property owners? And most of all, what could hold back this solar surge before it transforms our world? These are the questions we'll explore today. Buckle up. The idea that solar panels are only for sturdy, purpose-built roofs is a myth. For decades, conventional panels have been heavy, rigid, and picky. Most of the world's flat-roofed buildings, think warehouses, factories, distribution centers, simply couldn't handle the weight. That means vast potential solar capacity has sat idle, while energy prices soared and decarbonization targets slipped further out of reach. Enter lightweight solar. In 2024, Heliup, a French startup, quietly switched on a 100-megawatt solar module factory in the small town of Les Chalas. But this isn't just another panel plant. Heliup's secret weapon? Ultra-thin glass technology, slashing panel weight by 60% while keeping the same, or even better, performance and reliability. Their flagship product, the Sticon PV panel, is tailored for those very rooftops that once seemed off-limits. What's even more impressive is how these panels are installed. Instead of bolting them down with heavy frames and racks, workers simply glue the panels directly onto waterproof membranes. The result? Less labor, fewer materials, and crucially, no need for expensive roof reinforcements. For building owners, that means new income from unused rooftop real estate, lower energy bills, and a fast track to meeting tough environmental standards. The momentum behind this shift isn't just technological. Governments are stepping in too. In France, commercial solar installations can net a tax credit of up to 40% of the project cost. The European Commission's Innovation Fund handed Heliup a $3.2 million grant to get their plant off the ground. And around the world, cities are racing to set ambitious renewable energy targets, many of which can only be met by unlocking the untapped roofs dotting their skylines. According to Bloomberg NEF analyst Jenny Chase, lightweight solar is absolutely vital for the next wave of clean energy on commercial buildings. Retrofitting existing roofs is where the battle for decarbonization will be won or lost. But how big is this opportunity really? Let's talk numbers. The market for building integrated photovoltaics, BIPV, which includes these lightweight panels, could grow by an estimated 15% per year through 2030. As panel prices keep falling and efficiency rises, the floodgates are opening for large-scale adoption. If even a fraction of Europe's underutilized commercial roofs went solar, the region could add gigawatts to its grid every year, helping to buffer against energy shocks and price spikes. The French government isn't alone. Across Europe and Asia, policymakers are scrambling to sweeten the deal for solar on commercial and industrial buildings. Think streamlined permitting, extra incentives, and rules pushing new construction to include renewable capacity from day one. In the United States, similar lightweight PV products are starting to emerge, targeting everything from warehouses to disaster shelters. And while Heliup leads in Europe, they're not the only player in town. Chinese, American, and Japanese firms are pouring resources into next-gen lightweight solar. Each is betting big on the same vision, a world where no suitable rooftop is left untapped. But building a better mousetrap isn't enough in this industry. What about the performance and reliability of these new panels? Here's where the skeptics raise their eyebrows. Flexible, lightweight panels tend to degrade faster than their bulky, crystalline silicon cousins. On average, flexible solar sees about a 0.8% performance drop per year. That's better than it used to be, but still a sticking point for investors used to decades of payback from traditional PV systems. Material science is improving fast, with new coatings and cell chemistries promising greater resilience, but the race is on to prove these panels can truly go the distance. Another concern: cost. While the installation price is lower thanks to lighter materials and faster mounting, the panels themselves can be pricier for now. That means upfront investment is still a hurdle, especially for small businesses juggling thin margins and economic uncertainty. But, as with all new tech, scale is the magic ingredient. The more factories that come online, the faster those prices will fall. Yannick Veschetti, CEO of Heliup, puts it plainly. We can't afford to let structural limitations be an excuse. Our panels make solar possible where it was once impossible. Now it's up to the market to seize this opportunity, and to our engineers to keep making the technology better and cheaper. Let's take a moment to imagine the broader implications. If every flat commercial roof in Europe was outfitted with lightweight solar, it could generate as much electricity as several nuclear power plants, without the safety risks, construction delays, or political hurdles. Buildings would shift from being energy consumers to decentralized power producers. Grid pressure during heat waves or energy crises would ease. Energy bills could stabilize or even drop. But there are still mountains to climb. First is the challenge of scaling up. Heliup's 100-megawatt plant is impressive, but it's a drop in the ocean compared to the full demand. The company wants to multiply its production capacity 5-fold, maybe even 10-fold, by 2026. That's easier said than done, especially with global supply chain snarls, unpredictable raw material costs, and fierce competition for talent and capital. Next comes building trust. Commercial landlords and facility managers are famously risk-averse. They want proven tech, ironclad warranties, and predictable returns on investment. Convincing them to bet on a newer, lighter panel means a wave of pilot projects, real-world data, and, ideally, some big-name early adopters willing to go public. Finally, there's the regulatory maze. While governments are moving in the right direction, permitting can be a nightmare, especially in older cities with strict building codes. Questions about fire safety, insurance, and long-term maintenance all loom large. One misstep could slow adoption just when the momentum is building. But perhaps the biggest wild card of all is competition itself. As European startups like Heliup scale up, heavyweight players from Asia and North America are moving in with aggressive pricing and big R&D budgets. Will local firms be able to carve out their niche, or will the market be swamped by global giants? Who will set the standard for quality and reliability? Then, there's a deeper issue. How quickly can the technology adapt beyond rooftops? Experts predict a coming boom in building integrated photovoltaics, where solar cells are literally part of the walls, windows, and facades themselves, embedding energy generation into everyday materials. This would transform city skylines and the entire construction industry. But the path from factory prototype to mass market adoption is littered with barriers: technical, financial, and social. So, as the first wave of lightweight solar panels rolls out across Europe, we find ourselves at a critical crossroads. Will Heliup and its rivals manage to scale up in time to capture this extraordinary opportunity? Can building owners be convinced to embrace a new generation of solar tech? And will policymakers smooth the way or get bogged down in red tape and local politics? As the sun sets on the age of conventional rooftop solar, the stage is set for something bigger and lighter than ever before. The only question is, who will seize the opportunity, and who will get left in the shadows? Imagine for a moment the ripple effect if lightweight solar panels, like those rolling off Heliup's French production lines, move from innovative novelty to global standard. The potential isn't just impressive, it's transformative. Flat commercial roofs, once sidelined in the solar revolution, could become the beating heart of energy independence for millions of businesses. But what does this future actually look like? And what roadblocks could still trip up this solar surge? Let's start with the possibilities few dare to predict. Industry insiders see the seeds of a fundamental shift. Jenny Chase, a Bloomberg NEF analyst, puts it succinctly. Lightweight solar isn't just for new buildings. It's the only viable path for retrofitting the thousands of existing structures that conventional panels simply can't touch. Now scale that up. Logistics warehouses, schools, supermarkets, data centers across Europe, the US, and Asia, all sporting new solar skins. These are places where almost every square meter of rooftop is now in play. According to recent forecasts, the European commercial rooftop market alone could see solar adoption jump by more than 30% in just the next 5 years, all thanks to these featherweight panels. But that's just Act 1. The deeper game is integration, where solar isn't bolted on, but built in. Lightweight panels are already pushing us closer to true building integrated photovoltaics, or BIPV. Imagine office facades, rail stations, and shopping centers, their very walls and windows generating power for decades. The BIPV market itself is projected to expand at a staggering 15% annually through 2030. And then there are the unexpected applications quietly emerging on the sidelines. Lightweight, flexible panels are being trialed on delivery vans, fast food outlets, disaster relief shelters, and even remote cell towers, places where heavy, rigid modules simply wouldn't work. The technology isn't limited to sunny suburbia. It could prove a lifeline in rural Africa, Southeast Asia, or post-disaster zones where resilience and speed of deployment are mission critical. Government support, especially in Europe, is pouring fuel on this fire. France now offers up to a 40% tax credit for commercial solar installations, a huge incentive. The European Commission's Innovation Fund has already committed millions to scale up factories like Heliup's, and similar policies are now being debated across Germany, Italy, and Belgium, setting the stage for a continent-wide boom. Still, these opportunities come with real-world risks. The race to scale is fierce, and global competition is heating up. Asian manufacturers, with lower labor and material costs, could flood the European market if local startups don't ramp up quickly. Supply chain hiccups, think ultra-thin glass, advanced polymers, or specific silicon blends, could act as bottlenecks just when demand surges. And despite cutting-edge performance, lightweight panels currently degrade about 0.8% per year, which, while competitive, forces buyers to crunch the numbers carefully over 20 or 30 years. Financing is another sticking point. While government grants and green loans are more available than ever, many building owners remain skeptical. For some, it's a question of accounting. Will the savings outweigh the upfront costs? For others, it's a matter of trust in new technology. Convincing a retail chain CFO or a logistics giant to play solar pioneer isn't as easy as glossy marketing brochures might suggest. And yet, the momentum is unmistakable. If lightweight solar continues on its current trajectory, by the end of this decade, millions of tons of CO2 emissions could be avoided, and a massive chunk of the energy pie could shift from fossil fuels to clean, local generation. But what does this actually mean for you, sitting at home, watching this video? Here's the practical takeaway. Lightweight solar isn't just a niche gadget for techies or early adopters. Its success could lower electricity prices, spark new jobs, and make your next shopping trip more sustainable, without you lifting a finger. If you own or help manage a business with a flat roof, you suddenly have a new way to slash energy bills and boost green credentials, even if your building was written off as unsuitable for traditional panels. For homeowners, pay attention. Today, these innovations are targeting big buildings, but tomorrow, ultra-light, flexible panels could show up on apartment blocks, balconies, or even garage roofs. The tech is evolving fast, and as economies of scale kick in, prices are likely to fall, just as we saw with classic rooftop solar a decade ago. Even if you're not in the market, you're not powerless. Share this story. Ask your employer or local council what their green roof plans look like. Demand that new developments, public buildings, and renovations consider lightweight solar as the standard. As voters and consumers, we all have a stake in how fast this revolution moves. Let's not forget the broader lesson. Energy transitions aren't just about the hardware, they're about imagination and collective will. 15 years ago, most experts would have laughed at the idea of gluing solar panels directly onto flimsy warehouse roofs. Today, it's reality, and tomorrow, it could be the norm. Before we wrap up, here's a little-known secret fact. Several of the world's biggest tech companies are already quietly piloting lightweight solar, even on data centers where uptime is non-negotiable. Why? Because they see the writing on the wall. Resilient, decentralized power isn't just a PR win, it's a business imperative. So, is lightweight solar poised to transform the energy landscape, or will it stall out under the weight of its own hype? After months of research, interviews with engineers and insiders, and a close look at both the financial spreadsheets and the factory floors, the answer is clear. Lightweight solar is no silver bullet, but it is a game changer. The revolution isn't inevitable, it's earned through relentless innovation and public support. Will every challenge be solved instantly? No, but the direction of travel is unmistakable, and the pace is accelerating. We're standing at the threshold of an era where every commercial flat roof could become a power plant. The next time you pass a shopping mall, hospital, or sprawling distribution center, remember, above your head, a quiet revolution may already be taking root. If you found this deep dive eye-opening, help us keep the conversation going. Like, subscribe, and share. Got a story about solar at your workplace or in your community? Drop it in the comments.